Okay, today's video is about how do I actually start recovery? Like, how do I fully commit and just go all in? Well, the first thing to fully committing that you have to do is tell yourself that you don't have another option. Because if you have another option, when things get hard and feel uncomfortable, 100% every single time you're gonna run back because you know that the eating disorder will be waiting and you'll feel immediate relief and you will be able to go right back into your old behaviors and patterns. And the fear that you had when you started, when you go back to your eating disorder, you'll be like, maybe the eating disorder actually isn't that bad. Like maybe I actually can live with this a little bit longer because what I just experienced was unbearable. I can't do it. So do you see how when you have that option to go back, you will always run back? If you can recognize that when you start recovery, there's a few things we're going to talk about. I have some notes because I'm afraid I'm going to forget some things, but this is such an important topic. A couple of things. So first, you need to commit to unrestricted eating. And we've already talked about this, and it's pretty clear unrestricted eating is eating whatever you want, whenever you want, however much you want. And so oftentimes when someone's starting, they're like, that is so overwhelming. Like, I don't even know. It'd be like if somebody were to give you all the money in the world and say, spend it on whatever you want. You'd be like, I don't even know where to start. What do I don't know. But if you know that you have unlimited means, it doesn't matter where you start. You just start buying stuff, right? Because it's never going to run out. So if you can use that same analogy to unrestricted eating, it doesn't matter what you choose. It's never going to run out. Unrestricted eating is for life. It's never going to end. So you don't have any kind of scarcity mindset of, oh my gosh, well, what if it's not the perfect thing and it doesn't taste right? Or what if it's, not exactly what I was craving? Or what if it's not like perfectly fresh and hot? So it doesn't matter as much because it's unlimited. You're gonna eat as much as you want. And another thing is the OCD behaviors and rules. And those are a hard one to break if you're still restricting. Because let's use an example here. Let's say you're trying to not eat at certain, like you're trying to break these times of the day that you're allowing yourself to eat. Well, if you're trying to break those, and let's say like, yay, you had a win and you ate something before lunch, right? Well, if you're still restricting, it's likely that you're going to experience a backlash effect. So it's likely that you're going to pull back in some way at lunch or later in the day to try to balance things back out. That's restricting. And so if you're still, if you're still restricting, you're trying to break these OCD behaviors or these rituals around food, it's not going to happen because you're basically punishing yourself for trying to have a win in your recovery by restricting. Hopefully that's clear. And then obviously if you have a compulsion with exercise or movement, those are opening up neural pathways that are basically like, I'm going to follow when you're doing those things, your eating disorder knows exactly how to respond to that. It knows how to restrict. It knows how to stay stuck in your safe foods. Everything just is your rituals and routines are going to stay exactly like they are. So you have to break that compulsion. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is that when you start, and people ask me this all the time, was there just like a day that you decided that you were going to start recovery and then you just didn't ever look back? No. Like there was, I remember the first day that I was like, I'm going to give it my all and there's no going back and I don't have an option to, run back to my eating disorder and then maybe try to reassess this later. I remember that day committing. I've talked about where I left a day program. Dietitian told me I was never going to be able to recover. I went and got pizza, wrote out, basically here are the guidelines and things that I have to commit to. However, it doesn't mean like from that day on, from that pizza that I ate, I like never looked back and didn't have days where I struggled so much or didn't have moments where I did restrict when I should have eaten something or moments where I felt like my body, like I literally couldn't live in my skin anymore and I had to run back. Of course I had days like that and feelings like that and I wasn't perfect, but I knew I couldn't go back. So when I recognized that I had restricted, I had to recommit. And what would happen, because I knew there was no option to go back, that anxiety when I would restrict was super high because I was like, what am I doing? When I'm restricting, I'm not getting to my goal and I'm not going back. So I'm just increasing my anxiety. It got greater than the very temporary relief that I would get from restricting, if that makes sense. So an example of that would be like, you know, I really wanted a caramel brownie after lunch and I chose not to. And let's say I catch myself and realize, shoot, I should have eaten that caramel brownie. Well, if I chose not to eat it, my anxiety would kind of rise because I'm like, I know I'm not doing a recovery right now. I know that's not unrestricted eating because I'm lying to myself if I tell myself I don't want that brownie. And so it would start to kind of elevate. And then when I would actually like, okay, let's say I didn't actually eat the brownie, I'd have like this temporary relief, but then like the anxiety would come back and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I know I'm not doing, I should have done that. I should have eaten it. And I learned from that mistake. And then the next time that happens, I remember feeling pretty crappy about myself because my goal is to recover and I chose something that is not going to help me to recover. So realizing that the anxiety that you're going to be feeling throughout your recovery is temporary. That's a really important thing to remember. It is temporary. It may feel like the end of the world. It may feel like it's never going to end. It may feel like this is unbearable and not worth it. Suddenly your eating disorder doesn't seem that bad to live with for the rest of your life in the moment. But I promise you, if you can sit through that anxiety and just sit and get used to feeling so uncomfortable, the anxiety eventually passes. Anxiety will not kill you. It cannot hurt you. It feels terrifying, but the more you sit with it, the more confidence you gain in recognizing and realizing there's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing bad actually happened. That feeling I had about it was terrible, but nothing actually bad happened to me. And so if you can keep practicing that and recognize there's really not a way around that when you're going all in and 100% into recovery, I think people are like shocked when it starts to feel really hard or the anxiety's through the roof and they're kind of like, maybe recovery is not for me, or maybe I'm actually not cut out for this. I actually don't think, I believe that everybody's cut out for this. There's nothing stopping you other than yourself. That anxiety cannot physically stop you from recovering if you decide that you have no other option than to recover. And I want you to, I ask my clients to do this. I want you to write out your why. Like, why are you done with your eating disorder? There's a reason why you're even contemplating recovery, right? There's a reason why you're asking, how did you just go all in? Probably because you want to be able to do that and you want to recover. So why? Why are you done with your eating disorder? What has it taken from you? What are you ready to be done with? And then in those moments where you are completely out of your mind and your eating disorder is screaming at you and you can't see clearly at all, I want you to pull that out and read it out loud. Read it out loud because it will help you to kind of bring back like, okay, I can take a deep breath. I remember why I'm doing this. Clearly I need to do this. My eating disorder is really hating what I'm doing. All the more reason that I need to recover. So, and your eating disorder will, or that eating disorder will throw up a huge fit. And it'll make you think that this is not going to work for you and it's terrifying. It'll make you think that it's just not possible for you. Super normal feeling in recovery. I had it a million times. But I knew that if I thought really long and hard, I knew I had it in me, that I could do it and that I was worth it. And I am telling you that today, that I absolutely promise you that you can do it. Nobody is stopping you but yourself. So with that, go start eating unrestrictedly and commit to recovery and tell yourself there's no other option. Okay, have a good day.